지금 같은 경험이면 누가 와도 뭐 칼을 들고 와도 총을 들고 와도 별로 총은 좀 무섭긴 하겠다. 어쨌든 뭐 괜찮을 것 같아요. 그때 경험이 있어서.
When he was in Brazil for the Yellow fight, a lot of the Brazilians out there, whenever they came across Zombie, they were like, "You're probably gonna lose. You're probably gonna die on the octagon." So it was kind of threatening for him, and he was kind of like nervous that happened. But because of that experience, right now he doesn't care whoever walks up to him and says how the result's gonna be. He doesn't really care. He's prepared for the fight.
Alexander Volkanovski, obviously 20 wins in a row. Everybody praises how well-rounded he is, but I'm curious, are there any glaring weaknesses that you see as you break him down that maybe others haven't been able to exploit?
볼카nov스키가 지금 20연승 달리고 있고 굉장히 지금 좋은 커리어를 가지고 있는 파이터인데 다른 사람들이 보지 못한 볼카nov스키의 약점을 혹시 알고 계신지 그런 거를 발견을 하셨는지?
제가 생각했을 땐 저처럼 모든 부분을 다 끝낼 수 있는 선수들을 만난 적이 저는 없다고 생각하고 있습니다. 한쪽으로 많이 치우친 선수들을 많이 만났던 것 같아요. 근데 제가 생각했을 때는 그쪽으로는 모든 부분 뭐 이런 걸 다 전체적으로 본다면 제가 훨씬 더 나은 파이터라고 생각하고 있습니다.
So when he's been meeting fighters or fighting with fighters that were exceptionally strong in one sort of way, like for example grappling or striking, but Volkanovski is well balanced out compared to these fighters that Zombie met in the past. But he thinks he could finish Volkanovski in all these areas, and he's better than Volkanovski in all the areas within the MMA.
Nice. Last thing for me, I mean, 15 years in your career at this point, you've been at the highest level from the very start. What would it mean for you to finally have the UFC World Title?
15년째 UFC에서 싸우고 있고 사실 시작도 굉장히 창대하게 시작을 하셨는데 지금 타이틀을 따는 게 사장님한테 어떤 의미인지?
이 타이틀을 따기 위해서 15년 동안 경험을 쌓은 것 같은 느낌이 들어요. 네, 이거는 저한테는 꿈이고 그렇지만 너무 긴장하지 않으려고 합니다. 이번 샵은 즐길 겁니다. 그래야지 제가 실수하지 않고 최고의 코리안 준비가 나올 거라고 생각하고 있습니다.
He feels that these past 15 years has been the process of going for this belt. He's very prepared, and he's going to enjoy this fight instead of being obligated to win or being nervous about taking the belt. He's going to enjoy it. It was his dream to win this belt, so he's very excited about it.
Zombie over here. You share the cage with some of the very best fighters in the world over these last several years, and you're going to share it with Volkanovski on Saturday night. Where do you rank Volkanovski in terms of the toughest tests of your career?
UFC에서 싸우시면서 되게 세계적인 선수들이랑 많이 싸웠는데 그 선수들 다 순위를 매겼을 때 볼카nov스키가 어느 정도에 있는지?
이게 조금 다른 것 같아요. 뭔가 되게 노카우트 안 할까봐 무서운 사람은 사실 조지 알도가 제일 무서웠었고, 근데 이 선수는 제가 이 선수한테 피니쉬를 당할 것 같은 생각은 잘 들질 않아요. 근데 어쨌든 그만큼 똑똑한 선수이기 때문에 저도 그만큼 똑똑하게 준비하려고 했고, 아니면 또 오히려 똑똑한 선수이기 때문에 제가 더 프로를 만들어야 될 것 같은 생각도 들고, 아무튼 이런 스마트하게 스포츠로서 MMA를 하는 사람들 중에서는 최고인 것 같아요. 제가 만나본 사람 중에.
It's really difficult to put them all in one type of ranking because the styles are all different and how they fight is all different. For example, he was most scared of Jose Aldo because he was really scared of getting knocked out by Jose Aldo. So in that sense, Jose Aldo is the top rank. Volkanovski, on the other hand, is a very smart fighter. He doesn't really see himself getting knocked out by Volkanovski. So he thinks in terms of like fight IQ, like intelligence and how smart he fights, Volkanovski is the best fighter that he's ever experienced.
As John mentioned, 20 wins in a row. No one has been able to solve this puzzle in 9 years. What has the process been like for you preparing for a guy like Volkanovski? Have you been enjoying the sort of puzzle solving that goes along with preparing for a guy like that?
볼카nov스키가 지금 9년째 풀리지 않고 있는 퍼즐에 가까운데 이 퍼즐을 어쨌든 해법을 찾으려고 훈련을 하신 거잖아요. 그러니까 그 과정이 어땠는지, 뭐 즐거웠는지 이런 것들.
네, 뭐 특히 이번에는 마인드셋까지도 같이 공부를 하면서 코치를 받으면서 하는 게 굉장히 많이 도움이 됐던 것 같아요. 그게 풀리지 않는다고 제가 답답해서 막 이렇게 스트레스를 받는 것보다 오히려 받아들이면서 뭐 내가 더 잘할 수 있는 거 더 잘할 수 있게 되고 그러면서 더 답을 찾아가는 것 같아요. 그리고 네, 그런 과정이 굉장히 재밌었습니다.
So in this training camp, he had this mindset coach that helped him out mentally, and he wasn't really stressed out about trying to solve this puzzle. He wasn't really beating up on himself, saying like, "Why am I not being able to solve this puzzle? What is the answer?" He didn't do any of that. He kind of really enjoyed the whole process of trying to solve this puzzle. So it was overall a very enjoyable experience for him.
And last thing, how important has the mindset coach been for you? How different is it now heading into a fight than it was, say, 2 or 3 years ago?
마인드셋 코칭 한 게 얼마나 큰 도움이 됐는지 어떤 의미를 가지고 그리고 2, 3년 전에 그 마인드셋 없을 때 경기했던 거랑 차이점이 어떤 게 있는지.
아직 경기를 해보지 않아서 잘 모르겠지만 뭐 진짜 스파링을 할 때 제가 생각을 바꿔보니까 그때는 이제 굉장히 다리가 편해지고 마음이 좀 편해진 것 같아요. 그리고 제가 해야 될 기술들이 잘 생각이 나고 상대한테만 포커스가 맞춰지는 기분이 들었습니다. 스파링 때 했던 것들을 그대로 시합에 나오게 만드는 게 목표예요.
He's not because he hasn't really done the fight yet. He's not 100% sure what the difference is. But then when he did all the sparring and his training, the mindset coaching really helped him focus on the opponent himself, and he was able to think fast on his feet, the techniques that he has to use in the ring, and he was less nervous. His stance was very solid. So it's his goal, Gimon Knight, to do exactly what he experienced when he was doing the sparring training.
Zombie down here on your right. Just real quick, as somebody who's already faced Brian Ortega before, what did you make of Alex's last defense?
오르테가 전 하셨잖아요. 볼카 그 타이틀 방어전, 그러니까 가장 최근에 있었던 타이틀 방어전에 대해서 어떻게 생각하시는지?
그냥 그런 거에서 굉장히 볼카nov스키가 스마트한 선수라는 거를 좀 느끼게 되는 것 같아요. 네, 딴 건 없습니다.
He felt that Volkanovski was a very smart fighter, and that's it.
Thank you.
네, 안녕하세요. 네, 한국말로 질문한 것도 좀 의미 있을 것 같아서 질문하겠습니다. 네, 이번에 한국에서 좀 많은 팬들도 직접 보러 잭슨빌까지 오고 또 한국에서도 많은 팬분들이 기대를 하고 있어요. 그분들에게 한 말씀 부탁드립니다.
한국의 역사를 만들고 싶습니다. 한국 아니지, 대한민국 격투기계의 역사를 한번 만들어 놓고 싶어요. 그리고 많은 한국 파이터들이 이 기록에 도전하고 누군가 깼으면 좋겠습니다. 누군가 한 명은 만들어내야 되지 않을까 저는 생각합니다.
Oh, I need to translate this. So thought it was a great time for that. So basically, the question was, say hi to the Korean fans out there who are anticipating for Zombie to win the belt, and he replied, he wants to make history for the Korean MMA. Nobody's done it before, and asked if and when he wins the belt, it's going to be history for him and the Korean MMA, and all these young fighters out there who's looking up to Zombie as a role model can go ahead and get a nicer career, maybe get more support. So in that sense, he's very excited to win the belt.
Just a couple for me. Jensen over here. When this opportunity came up and Max Holloway dropped out, a lot of people raised their hands. How confident were you that you were going to get the opportunity?
처음에 할로위가 부상으로 아웃되고 많은 사람들이 이제 자기가 타이틀 파이트 하겠다 이렇게 막 얘기를 했잖아요. 그때 얼마나 찬성님이 타이틀 파이트를 얻게 될 거라는 자신감이 있었는지.
근데 뭐 그런 거를 느끼기도 전에 저한테 UFC에서 연락이 왔었기 때문에 사실 그런 걸 느끼지 못했어요.
Even before he had the opportunity to think about it, the UFC contacted him about the title fight, so he didn't really have the chance to feel the confidence.
그래서 다른 애들이 막 이렇게 타이틀전 달라고 막 얘기하는 걸 들었을 때 굉장히 좀 기분이 좋았어요.
And he felt nice because all these people were campaigning for the title fight, but he knew he already had it, so that kind of felt good for him.
Do you see this as the last UFC title shot of your career? And if you do, does that add any pressure?
지금 타이틀전이 커리어의 마지막 타이틀전이라고 생각을 하시는지, 그리고 만약에 그렇게 생각하신다면 그것이 얼마 정도의 압박으로 다가오는지.
이게 제 마지막 시합은 아닐 것 같지만 그래도 마지막 타이틀 도전이지 않을까 저는 생각을 하고 있어요. 너무 많이 나이를 먹었어요. 그리고 아니지 뭐 나이는 사실 뭐 그렇게 많지는 않은 것 같지만 너무 많이 다쳤어요. 파이터들이 굉장히 오래 싸우면서 많이 말로가 안 좋은 뭐 머리 쪽에 문제가 많은 사람들이 굉장히 많이 봤는데 그렇게 되고 싶지 않아요. 뭐 몇 번을 더 싸울 것 같긴 하지만 어쨌든 타이틀 도전은 이번이 마지막이 되지 않을까 저도 생각을 하고 있어요.
It's definitely not his last fight, but then he thinks it's going to be his last title fight because he's been injured a lot, he was hurt a lot in the past, and he has seen fighters who had issues with these injuries, long-lasting issues, and he doesn't want that to happen to him. So he's going to fight more after this, regardless of the result. But then, in terms of like title fight, he thinks it's his last one.
And just last one, you're the Korean zombie, I know because of your fighting style, but I'm wondering, are you into any zombie films? And if so, is there any favorites that you have?
그 파이팅 스타일 때문에 코리안 좀비라는 별명을 얻으셨는데 좀비 영화 좋아하는 거 있으신지, 그리고 어떤 거 있으신지.
네가 아는 것보다 내가 훨씬 더 엄청 많이 좀비 영화를 알고 있을 거예요. 그리고 뭐 거의 다 본 것 같아요. 좀비에 대한 영화나 시리즈나.
He's watched like every single existing zombie series and movies that there is, so it's difficult to name one.
A favorite, just one, name us one.
제일 좋아하는 거 하나만 말해주세요.
28 Days.
Yes.
28 days, yeah, you heard it.
Awesome, thank you, good luck.
Young, so he's the guy in front of me. He's the guy I need to take out, and he's the one with the target on his back. I got nothing to worry about. I'm the underdog. Everyone thinks I'm going to get smoked again. I'm going to have the last laugh, and I cannot wait because I've been in this position before, and people, oh, he can't strike. Pedro Munoz, oh, he can't grapple. Corey Sandhagen, he can't hang with him. He's too long. This, that, the third. Cody Stamen, Brett Johns, undefeated. All these guys, you know, these guys are great athletes, great competitors, but I've been doubted multiple times, and I always rise to the occasion. I can't wait to do it again.
Last thing for me, I guess I'll just ask, what will this win mean to you? Because as you said, you are already champion. I know that people say whatever they say, but you're champion. But what does this win mean? Does this feel like, you know, you did throw the belt down in the cage, so does this feel like a moment you really secure your legacy or your position?
I think so. I think to the fans, I mean, for me, I think this just adds to that. I think the resume that I've had during the time when people were hot, on these win streaks, and I'm taking these guys out, I think that's what it's all about. I think people that follow the sport and they understand that, you know, I'm not fighting guys past their prime. I'm fighting guys who are on win streaks. I'm fighting guys who are finishing guys and all that. So I think when you account for that, the body of work speaks for itself. And there's a reason why I do what I do, and I think I'm a very tough puzzle to figure out. And if I get people down, it's usually not a good night, you know. So I think I get them down the way I did in that first round, and it's going to be a short night for him. I really do think that I'm going to climb his back like a spider monkey and choke his ass out.
Right here. You've been very honest about the first fight and very sincere with your thoughts and all that. Was that difficult at any point to look at it objectively? I mean, a lot of fighters will admit they're to a degree delusional because that's how they have to look at their career and hype themselves up. So to be that honest with yourself, was that challenging in any way?
For me, no. I think when you do that, there's no way you can grow as an athlete, as a person, even outside of fighting. I think you have issues in relationships and you have issues with job, like your work life, whatever it is. I think if you can step back and remove yourself, remove the emotion, and just look at the perspective of what it is, I think it makes it a lot easier to kind of have those honest discussions and be able to break things down and analyze the situation. I think that's where I was at. So for me to be honest with the fans and be honest with my team, like I told the guys, watch the tape, give me your feedback outside of what I told you, how I felt that day, outside of what I told you. What do you think I did well? What do you think I did bad? What do you think Jan did well? What do you think he didn't do so well, kind of thing? And then we come to the table and we can discuss everything openly. And I tell guys, I don't want you to sugarcoat anything. Pretend we're not friends. Because I want the hard, honest truth, and that's how I operate with everything in life. And I think that's why I've gotten to this position in my life, because I think a lot of people, they want it the easy way. You say something and they don't like the way you deliver the message. The message is still the same. You know what I mean? So if whether or not I said really nice to kiss your ass or not say the entire truth, that doesn't help you. You know what I mean? So tell me straight. I'm a straight shooter. I want to know straight what it is. I got thick skin. You're not going to hurt my feelings unless the intent was to try to hurt my feelings. You know what I mean? So I think people got to kind of like harden up a little bit, you know?
And coming off the back of that, Piotr was here earlier and he said Aljamain doesn't behave like a worthy rival and doesn't behave like a man.
What does that even mean? Like, what does that even mean? Like, how should I behave? Like, you'll sit there like a freaking, like a brick and just don't say anything. Like, what, that's a man? I guess that makes you a man. I don't know. Like, I like to have fun. I like to enjoy my life. I'm enjoying the ride, so I'm sorry that he thinks the way I enjoy my life doesn't fit him, but no one's gonna tell me how to live. No one's gonna tell me what's a man. Like, a man's handling your shit and your responsibility, and that's what I'm doing. And Saturday night, I got responsibility I'm gonna handle. I'm gonna handle that shit. And that's the way I respond to that.
Aljo over here. To go by Piotr being here earlier and saying things, he said that if before Saturday he and his team run into you and your team, it's going to be on, and essentially his team will take out your team. What's your reaction to that, and have you seen him this week so far?
I have not seen him. I honestly kind of want to see him just to see what would happen. I mean, I'm calm, cool, collected, so I go for the energy he's going to bring, you know. So if he thinks it's going to be on, then I'm ready, you know. I'm more than ready. I'm ready now. I'm ready Saturday. So if you really want to do something, I'm right here. I'm in the same hotel as you. You can find me. If you want, I can give you my room number, not to other people to show up at my door, but you know. So it is what it is. I think he's just talking shit. It's cool. I feel like we're good rivals. I feel like we probably end up fighting again, and depending how this fight goes, I smoke him. What are people gonna say? What are people going to say if and when I smoke this guy?
Is it more about proving the doubters wrong or about proving yourself right? How does that sort of balance out in your mind?
A little bit of both. It's a little sweet to kind of stick it to people a little bit, you know, kind of rub it in their faces. People did it to me, and when I do it back, I just hope people can take it the same way I had to take it for 13 months, you know. So I'm ready to just end this chapter and move on to the next one. You know, I got a lot of guys that I want to take out, and Piotr is a big one. People rate him super highly, and he's either gonna look stupid or I'm gonna look really stupid. So it's one of the two. People have him as this huge betting favorite. Let's see if he rises to the occasion and do what he's supposed to do.
And then last thing, you sort of talked about the rivalry, and you feel like there's a chance that even down the road you guys will fight again. I know you have a lot of fighting left in your career. You're far from done, but when your career is done, do you feel like when they write the Aljamain Sterling autobiography, there's going to be multiple chapters on this rivalry with Piotr Jan? Do you think he'll be your greatest competitive rival?
Possibly. I think the whole storyline with everything, the way he leapfrogged me over something that he didn't deserve or earn, I think there's a lot to unfold in our history with each other. So I'm excited about it, and just however this fight goes, I really do think I'm going to run through this man. And like I said, people think he's good. If and when I run through him, what are people going to say about me? I mean, do I become the greatest of all time? You know what I mean? In this division, I don't know. There's a lot of histories to still be written, a lot of fights to still be had, and this is just another one on the checklist. Not a man.
Aljamain, just real quick. You mentioned that at some point you didn't even think you'd do another training camp. Can you give us some details with maybe some examples? How bad did it get, the whole situation with your neck?
Well, I think the easiest way is to go back to my sparring sessions with Marab, and he's an animal, he's a machine for the reason, but we normally have very competitive and high level, high output sparring sessions and even grappling. And for me to only be able to go around with him and then literally fatigue where I can't even really keep my arms up and push because I'm exhausting myself. I'm not exhausting myself, I am exhausted in the second and third rounds. It's not fun, you know, so that's not really a motivating feeling. And to know what you're capable of doing, knowing what you have done in the past, and to be where I am now, the best way I could describe this training camp is just to be a blessing, man. Because again, the music stops at some point. I thought it stopped for me, and I thank God that I'm back in this position. Because I was really starting to look at like other options of things that I might have to fall back on. You know, I got my real estate, I got my 3 houses. I do my podcasting, I do other things, and break down fights and all that stuff. So it really put things in perspective. Like one day, this can all just be taken away, and one injury, you know, for all of us. And I worked really hard to get back to this point in my life, and I can't wait to compete. It's a very, now I feel motivated. I was starting to become not resentful, but like deflated. Just like, man, I don't know if this is gonna happen for me. I don't think it's back in the cards for me. I know people were saying that I shouldn't have gone there. I'm not gonna be the same. I tell you what, I'm past the same. I'm way past that. I'm way better, and I think the physique shows it.
Good luck.
Thank you. Aljamain down here on your right. So, Jean Lee said before UFC 268 that while she was sparring, her teammates would heckle her to simulate the fight night experience of being booed heavily. Have you done anything similar to prepare for this?
I just envision in it, you know. And I'm one of those guys, like, when I was wrestling in high school and college, we had dual meets. Our team versus your team, your squad versus my squad. Each weight class, one guy goes out, you either win or you lose, and you move on to the next bout. And for me, being the next guy after one of my training partners, I'm either going with the momentum of a loss or with the win. So you kind of have to battle those emotions, and you never really know what it's going to be unless you're wrestling a really bad team, you know, you're just gonna steamroll them. But so for me, I relish in the moment of being booed. I relish in the moment of being cheered. For me, I just envision it all. I'm like, I walk through, did my walkout, boo. I'm like, yeah, let's go. That gives me energy because it makes me want to go that much harder. And if you're cheering for me, it makes me want to go that much harder. So it's nothing about. I know for her, she was affected the first time with Rose, and I don't know why, but everyone's different. You know, some people have never felt that before, but for me, I've had to deal with that all the time. People talking shit while we're playing basketball. People talking shit all the time. So we're ball busters, man, here on Long Island. So it was relatively easy for me to kind of put myself in that situation. Whether or not that's going to feel different when I'm making that actual walk, who knows? But I feel like I'm more than ready for any of that.
All right, thanks, Aljo.
Thank you. Good to go. Long live the king, baby. Long live the motherfucking king.
Your career?
I mean, eventually I expected to be here, so it's better that I'm this early than, you know, later.
Can you compare 3 years ago? I know you had a kind of extensive amateur career as well, but can you think back 3 years ago, debuting in Missouri, you know, regional scene? Did you think like, yeah, pay-per-view's probably coming up to me pretty soon, big number to them?
When whoever does this sport, I mean, I feel like this is always the end goal, you know, to be at this point in your career. So yeah, I've always envisioned it. You know, when, you know, being here, being in the environment, it feels like, you know, it always was supposed to feel, you know, like, hey, this is where we wanted to be, and this is where we are now.
Mm-hmm. You debut obviously against a veteran brawler, you know, well-respected vet. Now you're in against the new kid with all the hype and all that. So I'm curious, like, how do you look at that? Do you look at it as like, well, cool, they must think something about me if they're matching me up like this? Or are you like, hey, can I get maybe a little, ease me in a little gentler in here?
I don't think I showed like what I wanted to show in my debut, obviously, because of short notice. But yeah, I feel like they, must have some kind of respect. You know what I mean? He got a knockout in his first fight, and they want to, you know, make sure that he's the real deal. So they put him up against the biggest test of his career so far, and so we're gonna find out.
What do you think about it? I mean, he's certainly not short on confidence. We've seen that. I mean, do you feel like he is the real deal, and this is a tough test for you, or do you feel like he's been getting a little ahead of himself? What's your evaluation?
I feel like just because of how the fight went of his first one, yeah, maybe a little bit ahead of yourself. You know, you get touched up that many times. You know, you come out just barely with a knockout of 4 seconds left. Maybe a little ahead of yourself. You know, it was a good knockout. You know, nothing off his back, but I definitely feel like, you know, I've never been. To me, I'm that guy. You know what I mean? So, you know, I don't care who they put in front of me. You know what I mean? I'm always going to be that guy, and they're going to have to prove to me if they want me to think that they're that guy. You know?
Yeah. So I guess I wonder like how you enter this one mentally. If it's like a little chip on the shoulder, like, you know, he's the one getting all the interviews, all the attention, all the. I mean, is there any of that, or is there like a need to prove something? Like, what's the emotion as you come in?
Not really a chip on my shoulder so much as he's getting all the media. I'm not really caring about the media. You know, I'm here to fight. You know, this is why I got into the sport, to punch another person in the face as hard as I can and watch him bleed. So that's what more chip is. You know, my debut. You know, I had it on short notice. I didn't get to show everything I was capable of. And this time, I won't make that same mistake. You know, I have 5 finishes early in my career, and I'm going to show people why I have 5 finishes.
Nice. Last thing for me, I guess, the way you see this thing playing out, you mentioned your finishes, he's got I mean, this thing doesn't look like it's going to last real long. I mean, is that kind of what you're expecting as well?
I'm definitely expecting that. I'm definitely expecting us to go out there and war. I mean, I want this to be the best fight on the card. You know, so I want us to both stand in there, you know, trade with each other, cut each other open. Let's make this thing as gruesome as we can get it, you know what I mean? Give the fans something that they love to see and that we talking about for years.
Darren over here. We just saw Brian Barberina have an absolute classic with Matt Brown. It was an incredible fight. And I know when you fought Brian, it was on short notice and you feel like you didn't give everything you had, but do you feel after Brian's fight with Matt and getting that win that it helps your fight age even better? Because people forget it was a very competitive fight.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that way. And also, I mean, he's fought, you know, Leon Edwards took him to a decision. He's fought Kobe Covington, took him to a decision. So for me to be able to go to that decision on short, you know, such short notice, I feel like, yeah, it presents me as a big problem for this division, considering those Kobe Covington, Leon Edwards, and people like Vicente Luque are up in the top 10 of this welterweight division.
I know you don't necessarily look at it as a chip on your shoulder, but is there an advantage to coming in this one just feeling a little more free? Like all the pressure seems to be on him, and I know you're not really looking at it that way, but you're just kind of strolling in under the radar and you get to go and do what you think you're able to do. How much of a benefit is that for you?
Yeah, I feel like it's a major benefit. I don't have to, I guess, kind of, you know, my schedule's not kind of as set up as it is, you know, people, you know, want them to be on camera, hey, you know, following them around, you know. They can do all that. I mean, yeah, like you said, all I have to do is focus on what I'm here to do, display my skill, and go in there and fight. So yeah, I do feel like it's a little more freeing to be under the radar.
And last question for me, I saw a post on your Instagram not too long ago, and I feel like it's kind of fitting here considering how people view this fight, but you said essentially that it's you against the world and you'll win every time. Can you kind of elaborate on that? Is that how this fight feels to you, or is that just how fighting feels to you?
Probably fighting in general, but yeah, I mean, I guess it works for this basis considering that, you know, there's a lot of odds on him, you know, he's the favorite. And there's a lot of people who, you know, just see me as, oh, the 5-1 guy who, you know, lost his first debut. But yeah, you know, like I said, it's me against the world every time, and I'm gonna show people that, yo, I can do anything, you know, with God on my side.
interrogation lights.
Just figured that was how you were most comfortable. Very good. Obviously, the big move up to the main card, right? I mean, huge event. I mean, look, I know you've been around and had fights, but still, is that like an honor to you? Does that mean something to be on the main card of a big pay-per-view like this?
Yeah, it's pretty cool, honestly, but I wouldn't. It's really awesome, right? I don't want to downplay it all. It's really awesome, but I honestly don't care where I fight on the card. If I'm honest, I'd like to fight earlier because I get over with. You know what I mean? Now I have to waste the whole day. I'm fighting at 10 p.m. instead of 6:30. So that's the only thing that kind of sucks about it. But I'm stoked for it, honestly, and I'm super appreciative, and I'm glad I'm there. And I'm gonna do what I gotta do.
Well, as I say, I guess you said it doesn't matter to you, but when I saw the lineup, I mean, was there any part of you that was like, what are we doing all the way down here? Like, this is a pretty good fight.
I mean, no, not really. I feel like everyone else is more concerned with that than I was. Because, like I said, I'm like, I don't care. I'm on the card fighting, right? I'm there to just kick someone's ass. So it doesn't matter where you put me. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do.
Talk about Marcus and opponent. I mean, we know his wrestling background. I'm assuming that you think he's going to be a wrestling-heavy strategy. But do you think, like, the move to fight ready, you know, there's been enough time to evolve or to change, and maybe you got to expect some different wrinkles in the game, or is this, I'm just getting ready for a wrestling?
I'm getting ready for a wrestling match. He's not gonna strike with me much. I'm expecting him just to wrestle me the whole time, and that's what I prepared for in the camp, right? Like I still worked on my striking, working on my strengths, but I've really worked on my defensive wrestling and especially Greco. And I have actually some guys in the gym who are spitting images of him, honestly, and they're his level of Greco. So I'm really confident in this fight.
Obviously, he is an Olympian, so I mean, if he's only going to wrestle, he's pretty good at it, right? I mean, I was going to say, so do you see anything like in his game that like, yeah, he really, I mean, that's a challenge that be out wrestled, or do you feel like, no, it's just another guy that wrestles in mixed martial arts?
It's definitely going to be a challenge, right? I'm not gonna say that it's not going to be challenging and the fight's going to be easy, because it's not. But I just have a lot of confidence in my defensive wrestling and my skills, and who knows, I might wrestle fuck him in the fight.
I thought it was funny because I thought he was kind of complimenting you when I interviewed him. He said that you two guys are the strongest guy in the division. You were like, he's not even close to me. Like, why did it was like I thought he was complimenting you. Like, it seemed like you took it as an insult.
No, I don't know. I just thought it was funny, but I don't know. I erased it because then I was like, hey, you're just being an asshole right now. You're being petty. But I don't know. I don't know how to feel. I was just being petty, so I just erased it, I guess. But I don't know. At first I was like, yeah, you're not. You might be strong, but you've never felt the kind of strength that I have, right? And everyone that I fought, you could talk to them and ask them how strong I am, right? Like, I didn't realize how strong I was until people were telling me. I would say, if this is okay, I have that kind of retard strength that really knows no limits, right? And my strength lasts too, so I don't know. At first I was like, okay, we'll see who's stronger, right, in the fight, and then at the same time I was being paid a little bitch, and I said what I said, so.
Fair enough. I guess last thing for me, I mean, how do you see this fight playing out? Because I think a lot of us are expecting this to be a kind of grinding, difficult fight for both guys. I mean, it's going to be a battle. Do you see it as that, or do you feel like this is a fight you can go in and get some kind of quick finish?
I mean, I definitely feel like I can get a quick finish. He's going to definitely eat some shots, right? But I don't think it's going to be. I'm expecting the first round to be like a Little Caesar's pizza, man. We're going to be hot and ready. We're just going to come out there and start firing, right? And so that's what I'm expecting. But after that, my gas tank is gonna take him out, and I don't see him having much more for me after that first round.
Please tell me you have a Little Caesar sponsorship and you just work that in so swiftly.
I did. It's just something I've been saying lately because it's just really funny. It makes me laugh. It makes me laugh at my own shit, right? So I've just been saying the guys love it too.
Vince over here. Do you feel like your ability to turn these into dogfights can frustrate him? Like, yeah, he might be able to take you down, but your ability to get back up and make things ugly, do you think, how much of an advantage do you think that'll be in this fight?
I think that's the biggest advantage in the fight, honestly, because to this day, I don't really know anyone that can hold me down if I want to get up, right? And if I am being held down, I get pissed off and I just pull out that rage and then I get up. So, like I said, I don't really know anyone that's going to hold me down, that will keep me down there. If I want to get up, I'm going to get up. And I think that's going to be a very harsh reality for him if that's what his game plan is, which I'm sure it is.
Speaking of pissed off and rage, I saw an interview you did recently. A clip got out and you're getting a little upset behind the wheel at a fellow driver, and I assume there are probably other instances of this. Are there any other good stories you could share that stand out to you, or a driver, to put it lightly, was not on your good side?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could say I have a little bit of road rage when I'm behind my car when there's idiots around, which there's a lot. I feel like I love Denver, but people out there drive like they got nowhere to fucking be, and it's really annoying to me sometimes. And yeah, that rage meter just gets filled pretty quick. But if you want to hear a funny story about that, that was actually, in that same interview, I had 2 road rage incidents. So right after that first guy I chewed out, who actually, that guy initiated with me, right? Like I was honking at him and I just went around, I wasn't gonna say shit, and then he pulled next to me. But, so, you know, I just had to verbally abuse him a little bit, but down the road, some other idiot was trying not to let me in a forced merge lane, so I had to literally throw some other car off the side of the road, right? Like just punk them, because I drive a 2500 Sierra HD and it's lifted as shit, it's 10 inches big, right? Like, guess how small my dick is, right? Because this truck's so big. Like, some little fucker in like a Ford Escape tries to like bully me, right? And I'm like, what are you doing? And I just kind of, you know, jerk him off, and they almost went on the wrong side of traffic. And if you watch the interview later, you'll see it, and I laugh because the car is literally like 10 cars behind me after that. Like, they wanted nothing to do near me.
Do you regret that at all, or?
No, fuck them. People are idiots sometimes, and they just need to be told they're idiots, you know, because they forget, I guess. I don't know.
Did you say you jacked him off?
Oh yeah, I did say that.
You did say
I jerked. No. I bullied him off the road. I'll say that. Let's adjust.
Last thing to change the subject from that. What does a win do for you here? Are we talking top 15? Are we talking a guy with a number next to his name? What does a win over Mark on Saturday do for your career?
Gives me someone else to beat up in a higher level, you know. This is a big opportunity for me. I had the opportunity before with Gregor Gillespie, and I kind of fell short on that one. And so I've really dedicated myself mentally and physically for this, because I'm not fucking up this opportunity, right? But after this fight, I don't know. I'm not really thinking ahead of Madsen, but I'm assuming that this is gonna be my opportunity where I go for that title run, right? Where I climb that top 10 and do what I wanted to do.